A 5-year-old girl walked 2 miles alone to the police station on a quiet Tuesday afternoon in Mapleton, Ohio. Her little blue dress was wrinkled, her blonde hair tangled from the wind, and both tiny hands pressed hard against a belly that looked far too round for her age. She pushed open the heavy glass door with all her might and stood in the middle of the lobby, trembling. "Help," she whispered, voice barely louder than the hum of the vending machine. "There's another heartbeat inside my tummy." Sergeant Harold Miller, 58, gray at the temples, 27 years on the job and counting down to retirement, dropped his paperwork the second he saw her. Something in those wide blue eyes hit him like a fist to the sternum. He was on his knees in front of her before anyone else moved. "Hey, sweetheart," he said as gently as he ever had in his life. "My name's Harold. What's yours?" "Lydia," she answered, lip quivering. "Lydia Ross." "Where's Mommy or Daddy, Lydia?" "Mommy left. Daddy's sleeping." He said, "I'm making it up again." She pressed harder on her swollen belly. "But I'm not. It moves. It has its own heartbeat. Different than mine." The room went dead still. Miller had heard 1,000 wild stories in his career, but the calm certainty in this child's voice chilled him to the bone. He took her tiny hand, cold, trembling, trusting, and led her to his cruiser. On the way to Mapleton Community Hospital, she looked up at him from the back seat and asked the question that would echo in his dreams for months. "Mr. Policeman, when they find the second heartbeat, will they take it away, because it's not really mine? I think it belongs to Mommy." Miller swallowed hard and promised himself, that he would find out. 1. Mapleton Community Hospital, 3:17 p.m. Dr. Priya Patel met them in the ER bay herself. One look at Lydia's distended abdomen and the way the child kept one protective hand over it, and her professional smile tightened. Miller stayed while they ran the ultrasound. Lydia never let go of his fingers. The tech, Kelly, rolled the wand slowly across the gel-slick skin. The grainy image sharpened. Kelly's smile faltered. "Dr. Patel, you're going to want to see this." The room went quiet except for the rapid thump-thump of Lydia's own heart on the monitor, and then something else. A second rhythm, fainter, slightly out of sync, like an echo that refused to fade. Dr. Patel's eyes flicked to Miller, then back to the screen. "We need a pediatric specialist," she said quietly.
"Now." 2.
By 6 p.m. the hospital had located Lydia's father, Ethan Ross, thin, unshaven, smelling faintly of yesterday's beer. He stormed into the ER demanding to know why his daughter was being dramatic again. Miller blocked the doorway. "Your 5-year-old walked 2 miles alone to ask for help, Mr. Ross. She says her belly hurts and there's another heartbeat inside. We just heard it on ultrasound. You're going to sit down and you're going to listen." Ethan's anger collapsed into stunned silence when Dr. Patel showed him the screen. That can't be real," he whispered. "It's real," Patel said. "And it's growing."
3.
That night Miller drove to the Ross house to get Mr. Whiskers, Lydia's one-eyed stuffed cat. She had begged for him, said he kept the secrets. In Lydia's tiny bedroom, he found the cat on her perfectly made bed. When he picked it up, something crinkled inside. A hidden pocket had been carefully sewn into the lining. Inside was a small USB drive. Back at the station, alone after midnight, Miller plugged it in. Dozens of audio files, each dated. He clicked the first. A woman's voice, soft, exhausted, determined. "Lydia Ross, abdominal recording, March 15th. Then silence, followed by the unmistakable sound of 2 heartbeats. One strong and fast. One weaker, slower, but undeniably there. Miller listened to 20 more. The second rhythm grew clearer with every passing month. There were also scanned doctor notes, desperate emails to specialists, and a journal. One entry stopped his heart. "Dr. Winters laughed at me today. Actually laughed when I played the recording. Said I was manipulating audio for drama. When I begged for a referral, he suggested I see a psychiatrist. Ethan believes him more than me. I'm running out of options." Grace Ross had disappeared 3 months ago, after the worst fight of their marriage. Ethan had never filed a missing person report. He told police she just needed space. Miller stared at the screen until the words blurred. Grace hadn't abandoned her daughter. She'd been trying to save her.
4.
2 days later, Children's Hospital in Columbus took over the case. The mass was a teratoma, rare enough, but this one contained organized cardiac tissue with its own blood supply. It pulsed. It had a heartbeat. Doctors had seen nothing like it in their careers. Lydia called it her second heart. She insisted it belonged to the twin her mommy lost before she was born.
5.
Miller found Grace living under the name, and Smith in a roadside motel just across the Kentucky state line. She opened the door only after he said Lydia's name. She looked like a woman who hadn't slept in months. They found it, Miller told her. The second heartbeat. It's real. And Lydia needs her mom. Grace broke down in the doorway, sobbing into his uniform shirt like he was the only solid thing left in the world.
6.
The night before surgery, Lydia made everyone pinky swear they wouldn't leave. She handed Mr. Whiskers to Miller for safekeeping. "Guard his pocket," she whispered. "That's where the secrets live." Then she looked at her parents, together again for the first time in months, and said, "You have to stay together after they take the second heart out. Promise." Ethan and Grace looked at each other over their daughter's hospital bed and, without a word, reached for each other's hands.
7.
The surgery lasted 6 hours. At 2:47 a.m., Dr. Ellen Chin walked into the waiting room still in her surgical cap, exhaustion and wonder fighting on her face.
"She's perfect," she announced.
"We got every bit of it. No complications." Grace collapsed against Ethan. Miller closed his eyes and felt 27 years of seen too much finally ease, just a little.
8.
3 months later, the maple trees on Elm Street were turning gold. Harold Miller, retired now, was on the Ross family porch drinking lemonade with a very healthy, very opinionated 5.5-year-old. Lydia swung her legs from the porch swing and suddenly grew serious. "Mr. Miller?" "Yeah, kiddo? I don't need 2 hearts anymore." He raised an eyebrow. "Turns out," she said, placing her tiny hand over his much larger one and pressing it to his chest, "one is plenty when you've got the right people to share it with." Miller felt the steady thump under his ribs and, for the first time in decades, believed in something bigger than tragedy. Inside the house, Grace and Ethan laughed in the kitchen while making dinner together, wedding rings catching the late afternoon light. The second heartbeat was gone, but its echo had saved them all. And somewhere in a pathology lab in Columbus, a tiny, impossible heart that should never have existed was preserved in a jar, silent now, but proof that sometimes the smallest voices carry the loudest truth.